so much. Why was your comment filtered? What has occurred? Were you being naughty? Oops, I dropped my phone. Okay, here we are. We're gonna do a little painting live stream, and this is our Valentine's Day cookie. So here is our model. I took a picture and I posted it so you can see it on YouTube or Patreon. There's many pictures on Patreon, so if you do happen to tune in there, go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button, leave me a lovely little comment or a little red heart for Valentine's Day. And just like because I get distracted, I know some of you get distracted by how cool my space is. I know. We'll just cover that up. All right. I don't know. Did you say something naughty and terrible? What was the word? I have no idea. Oh, shoot. Hold on. We're sinking. Oh, you were working on embroidery? What were you making? That's cool. Did you finish your piece? Great. I'm gonna get started here by adding in our pigments, and I think we'll start on the canvas with, I like to use like a color that's usually like the opposite on the color wheel. We don't have to, but kind of nice. Oh, yay, I'm glad you're doing it with me. All right. I feel like it's too far back. Here. That'll do. And it's a teeny tiny canvas that we're working on today, so it's just use a little brush, nothing too big. All right, we'll start out with this brush. It's an oldie but a goodie. Do you see how like worn out it is? That's what we like to see. I think the screen says the wrong thing. The cookies are from Batch Bakehouse, just to let you know, in case you're ever in Wisconsin, in Madison, and you want to get your own, go to Batch. Okay, I just have a colored pencil and I'm gonna go in because we're using acrylics, so we can definitely be multimedia about this. We don't need to be precious in any type of way. Does anyone have a special playlist today for their artistic creation? I've been in like a early 2000 alt punk pop type of a vibe, so I was listening to All Star by Smash Mouth earlier. And do you remember that song that's like, what does it say? You to start over new. Dun, 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 dun. That song, I think you know what I'm talking about. It was stuck in my head, so when I was walking towards you earlier, it just kind of came out, and so I like to sing to my neighborhood. So I wonder if my neighbors actually ever hear me, or if, and they just think I am insane, or if they don't pay me any attention. Much JoJo? So much. Oh, JoJo, like JoJo. Early 2000s JoJo. Is that what we're talking about? Okay, so now you see like we have a nice little outline here. Nothing has to be perfect. I kind of enlarged the plate so it would go almost to the edges here. I wanted to make that cookie just a little bit bigger than it would be otherwise. And then just because it's a Valentine's painting, let me go get our pigments really quick. Maybe we should use... We'll use this. Alright. I have a bunch of stuff here, all different of our materials. There's different brands. It doesn't really matter mixing the brands of acrylic paint. But for our red, we have Naphtha Crimson. I'm using reflective rose reflex, which is acrylic paint from Amsterdam. I also brought in some alizarin crimson. It's one of my favorite colors, clearly. For a bit of yellow, just to help us with, you know, that kind of breading part of the cookie, we have some medium yellow. And I get cadmium free as much as possible just because it's better for the environment. Acrylic paint is not good for the environment, but it's a little better. Some processed cyan, and then our titanium white. I'm gonna just slap a little bit on our paint palette here. And it's such a small little painting. We don't need very much of any of this. Just a little bit. And the main colors that we're going to be using seem like they're going to be red and white. What, Giorgio? Giorgio's talking to me. I don't know what he wants though. And this probably is too much yellow. It's probably too much blue. I'm just putting a little bit on the palette to get started. The blue will probably come in more when we get into our shadow section. And then, like I said, it's a lot of white. So I'm going to give us a nice big dollop right there. What, Giorgio? I also have that. I'm going to just toss onto my palette because it's fun. And I think we shouldn't be too serious for painting. There's a lot of things in life that we have to be serious about. This is not one of them. Alright. And to get started, let's put down... I'm gonna mix up the color for the background. What, dude? What? You hear him crying. Oh no, I'm not doing that. You can go talk to Mom. Bye. I'm working. Go away. is angry. He's so angry. But he speaks very good English. Okay, so he knows what's going on. So I mixed together, and this is kind of like a cream color that we're just going to use as our base for that cookie frosting, so that we don't put too much just like stark white down on the canvas. And look at my canvas is not so tight. Nothing is perfect. It's okay. If I had planned all of this out a little better today, I would have ran the back of the canvas through some sink water and just let it dry out so it's more drum, like a tight drum backing. Okay, there's that. Doesn't need to be like a solid, shape or color either. Putting a little bit more white into some of the yellow just to give it some like dimensionality. Over here, we're going to put our sprinkles. The nice thing about acrylic paint is that it dries so fast, so we don't need to wait a day or two for it. Versus I've started working in oil paint, and oils, there's pluses and minuses to everything, but with oil paint, what you can do is you can wipe it all away. So if you start doing something, you can wipe it away and you can just keep on moving with it. I was outside at Edna Taylor Park over in Monona, and it's really close to my house, so I like going there. I stopped over at the Italian deli first for Boni's. If you're in Madison area, like, go to Boni's. I tell you that their chickens, they have stuff that you can't get unless you know to ask for it. And and that's the good stuff. They have in the back chicken salad for chicken salad sandwiches. That is so good. If you don't like celery, don't try it. It's got celery in it, but it's so good. It's crunchy. It's like crispy. It's also slightly sweet. Like it's tangy and a little sweet, but not sweet and tangy like Miracle Whip. Ugh, no. It's like a grown-up delicious. So I went there first with my friend Katie Hogan, who's also an artist. And then we went plein air painting. It was a really good day. Okay, here we go. I know it's a white canvas. Why are you painting it white? Shut up. I'm just using it as like a place marker. And I'm going to create over here a good shadow color, which is not going to be like straight blue. I'm using cyan blue, which is pretty pigmented. It's like very pigmented, like a phthalo blue. And that should give us a little bit more definition here. And I'm working it into that wet white paint that I had put down already. So then it will have a softer edge. And like I said, like, do whatever with whatever medium you want. And you could do something more abstracted if you aren't comfortable with your style yet, or maybe that is your style. Don't feel like you ever have to be in the same even like realm of creation as anyone else. Just the act of creating feels so good. And then this plate is really cool. It's got these like swirly details on the edge. So here you can see what I'm talking about, I love that. And this was just a thrift store coffee. I think it's from like a coffee or tea set. They're the little tiny plates that you never really know what to do with. Those are my favorite plates. I like little plates. I like little spoons. I like little forks. They're my jam. Okay, so now we have this, and I put it on just probably a little bit outside of where I wanted it to be, but that I'm just gonna roll with it. Nobody asked me to do this, so I like it. And it's very light. We can build upon it as we go. Having these really stiff and coarse brushes is, I call it a privilege. Like you earn it, an earned privilege. When you're a brand new artist, your tools are brand new and they're not as like worn and weathered. I found myself upset as an oil painter because it's a new thing for me. And I wish I had brushes that were like little nubbins and like had more texture to them. I'll just have to wait till I've used one more. Okay, and we're gonna go in and make a very dark bluish kind of color to really push that value of our shadow. I haven't added any water to my brush yet. I haven't washed it. So we're kind of coasting on some of the other colors. I might want just a dip in water because it's a little dry. Now I'm gonna wipe it off the brush and we're gonna go back in with the red. Oh, that happened. That's okay. And now that we're adding that red, we'll be able, it's like giving us a boundary. So I was really focused when I was putting this red in, except right there apparently. We can just pull that in a little more, that's not a big deal. It's so weird painting with acrylics. You can paint, I feel like maybe it's because I've done hundreds of paintings with acrylics already, but I feel so fast with acrylic and so slow with oil paint. I'm noticing. It's like a really big difference. It doesn't look quite circular, so we can clean that up when we can add more white in there for the plate. The places it doesn't look quite right is like down here. Having had that layer of white down, I think was a good one to like make a nice clean barrier, so when you do add more paint, you can just make sure it hasn't fully dried and then go in and scrub it out. Do I have a paper towel? This one is like so mucky. All right. I'm pretty pleased with it so far. It's not done clearly, but we have a good foundation for where we're gonna go. The size canvas that we're using, it's a 6-inch canvas. It's just a little baby. What size canvases do you like to work on? I think I like working on small canvases because it's for like the economic purpose of being able to do a whole lot more work in a very short amount of time. And logistically, I just don't have a lot of space right now. I will eventually have like the room to create bigger pieces. But for now, this is just what works. Plus, then I go online and I purchase my canvases in bulk rather than just going to the store. It's such a waste of money. If you can invest in and have the storage capacity too, then definitely buy your canvases online in bulk and have them mailed to you. And right now we're using a whole bunch of different brands. We have some Liquitex, we have some Amsterdam, and this is acrylic paint. Amsterdam acrylics are really nice. I would say that Amsterdam acrylics function very, very, very similarly to Liquitex, like the regular basic brand. Here we go. But I will say that acrylic paint, I think, is the easiest and most versatile paint to use, but it is one of the most harmful environmentally. 16 by 20 is fun. Yeah, we have an 8x8 canvas also here that I thought about using, but I just want to do a quick painting. Something that I find really helpful is to treat every canvas like a sketchbook, and not be too precious with it, you know? Like, I got into this phase for a little while where I just thought, oh my gosh, I can't do anything because it's too expensive or too precious to use. And that was really harmful for the practice. So I've changed my mind and kind of talk myself out of it. But when I approach a canvas, it's no different than my private sketchbook, you know? And then that allows me to do a lot more growth because I can make those mistakes and try new things. Something that is kind of weird is like food. Whenever you put green in the painting with food, it makes people think of mold. Uh, so you have to be careful about how much and what kind of greens you're using. Mintier greens, better. Redder greens, nah, not so sweet. Okay, and reference photos are available on Patreon. So if you wanted to paint along with me, you can either go on YouTube right now and find the video, or you can go on the Patreon site. I may cover this green up and just decide I don't like it and go more blue. Typically, people will use blues and reds and yellows, or like more primaries and stuff like that than like the secondary color wheel. Mint is okay. I think the mint is pretty cool. Okay. I think it's time to get into painting this part of the canvas as well. I'm going to put just a bit more tint into the color I'm using. When you're tinting a color, you're adding white. So we're just adding a little bit more white to it until we get to the value that we want. I don't want it to be like it's a white plate, but I don't want it to actually be just a bunch of white space on the canvas. I think that can start to look really boring. I think it's boring to paint just a white surface quite often. There's a time and there's a place for that too, but I like it how this kind of, I need to go in with some white in here to give it a little bit more dimension. Hi Spider King, welcome and thanks for the roses today. Okay, brilliant, that's great. And I might want this to dry a bit before I put a layer of white on because it'll get kind of sloppy otherwise. All of the colors start to blend together and our white will be very pink or very green, very dull. All right, and here. It's like a very tight little shape there. And yes, we do want to put shadows where like the plate would be on the tablecloth. I'm going to wipe my brush off so that it doesn't pull a bunch of the white into this color because it's going to be too bright. And we're going to use our alizarin crimson. It's a really pretty color. And we're just going to place that down and then come back into it. But because this is still wet, it's going to act up. We have to be very gentle here. I'm going to add just a little bit of our processed cyan into this color so that it's a little deeper in value. And it will then match better with the other shadow that we have. There's a lot of water in it because I ran out of paper towels and have to go get it, but I'm lazy right now. We'll get to it. I'm gonna go get it. We're gonna go get it. Okay, I'll be right back. Alright. Then we should go in also and add the words and the sprinkles and all that. We can always come back to the shadow because right now the pigments on the canvas are very wet and they need to dry just a bit. For that, we're going to go down to a smaller brush like this one, very wide, not too thin. Let's get into it. That might even still be too big. I think that's too big still. We have really fine detail brushes as well, but I don't remember where I put them. Hold on. Haha, okay. Oh, you can tell I haven't been in the studio for a while. So this is a little pack of fine detail brushes that were gifted to us by a subscriber on here, but I didn't write their name down, so my apologies. And look at how small that is. You can get a lot of detail from that. And then this one, just a little bit longer. Let's use this one. This was one of those items that I had tossed into the Amazon wish list. So thank you so much for purchasing from the wish list for us. Here is our brush. It's just a very thin one. And I need a little bit more red pigment. And someone, Kellyanne was asking which mediums and which like tubes of paint we're using today. So we have Liquitex Heavy Body Acrylics. Those are my favorite. And we have Cad Free Yellow, medium. I also have some Amsterdam acrylic and Grumbacher. This is a student grade, so this was $3 for this tube, really affordable. Versus my most expensive brand, Golden, which I think this tube of paint is something like $25. And a little tiny Liquitex Basic Naphtha Crimson. This one came in a set of 72, I believe, tubes, and you get like a whole bunch of different colors. And that was what I did, like when I really I decided that I wanted to paint seriously. Helen Kleba Saddle, my mentor, she suggested that I get just like a bunch of different colors and of the teeny tiny tubes, and then when they started to run out, those are the ones that I needed to get more of. It was really good advice. Okay, let's get into it now. The way that this person does their bees is like a 13. And then this painting is going to go into Batch Bakehouse. I think in the morning I'll go put it in there. There's a display of my artwork, all based on pastries that I have purchased there, which is really cool. And I finally got to update it this past week, which I'm not a morning person. Bakers are like the middle of the night type of people, my kind of people, but they wanted me to go in at like 6 a.m. every day or every time I wanted to update the case. There's a display case there. I'll show you a picture because I just was there. So here's the little display case, and oh my gosh, all these delicious foods. There's the display case, and before it was really hideous, and so I added, and they knew, we had a conversation. What I did was I saw this bakery that I really like, and me and my mom walked in one day. Well, I think I did it by myself this time, but I asked them what they were doing with this case because inside was like a bunch of paper chains and a bunch of just like jumbles of things, and I wanted it to look nice, and I wanted a place to put my artwork, and I really liked Batch. So I just asked if I could like update this. I came in with a bucket of paint. I tried to match that color, but it was a little brighter. It's okay. One day maybe we'll paint it again, but a bucket of paint is like $25 or $30. It's not that big of a deal. And then I purchased pegboard. So this, if you can see it, there's pegboard. You see that? There's pegboard on there. And I drilled it in See a little like seam? I got one piece and had them cut it down, and oh my gosh, it was such a big deal. You can kind of see this little like circle. I got washers and I drilled into it with some giant screws. So it's like in there firmly. And then I got these little peg holder bars that tomorrow morning I'm going to go buy more and have a welding. One of my artist friends who does sculpture, Amanda Langer, she is going to help me cut them down so that they won't be so far off of the back of the. Do you see how like there's so much distance between the artwork and the pegboard? I'm really happy that I have so many, like, I'm so grateful that I have so many amazing friends who have talents and skills, and we can call on each other to help each other out, because that, I couldn't do it without assistance. I could, it just would be awful. So, I made this little pegboard display. This will go into it. Honestly, I think we should do 2 little paintings at a minimum, just because if I do these two, like this one right here and one more of some holiday themed, I can move this piece over and I can put two, or move it to the middle and then put 2 more little canvases up. So there's a plan. There's like a grand scheme plan of what we're gonna do with this. And then it is available for sale, so someone can buy it at any point. The people at the store were like, oh my gosh, can we start selling your artwork here? Because I had done a bunch of vending events last year, and um, I got a lot of people into their bakery that didn't at least they know about it. I don't know if they finally went. But one of my friends from college, Allison, her and her husband, Sean, who's also my friend from college, they went in there to see the artwork and they ended up getting bakery for the first time from batch. I'm just really happy about the community connections that we're able to make and being able to support local entrepreneurs. Lauren is the co-owner of Batch. She's such a nice person. Like every time I go in there, she gives me a hug, and if you know me, I love a good hug. Like it's just so nice to feel someone else really like with you. So, Batch Bakehouse is one of those places that makes me feel good, so it makes me feel good to paint and support them. B, okay, we got one word down. Now we got to get mine. And then we're going to come back in and give it a little like shadow too and highlights. It's the little details for me, like the hearts above the eye. Oh, it's cute. Okay. Kale, how's your project coming along? Here we go. We'll also be back on track with painting the Garden of a Thousand Faces. I've been working really hard. If anyone wants to look and review what I wrote for like my project, what's it called? Description. I'm excited. I look forward to seeing your stamp. But I wrote up a grant proposal for the Garden of a Thousand Faces and submitted it for money from the Grilled Cheese Fund. So hopefully we get a little bit of income for the project that way. Could I support a $136,000 project on my own? Sure. You know, that's fine. But do I want to? Absolutely not. Do I think that the Garden of a Thousand Faces is worthy of sponsors? Yes. Do I believe that companies, small businesses, and local, like global, anyone, people want to see it come to fruition and also want to have their name attached to it? Absolutely. So I've been working really hard to research and study and connect with people who know more about how to get funding for your awesome projects. So I do apologize that it's taking so long to get really like back into the swing of regularly just like painting people for it. It's something that I've really enjoyed doing and am going to continue working towards. And then it's just like a constant goal of mine is to have like a routine built in to our day where we know like every day at this time Gigi's going to be live so that we can paint the Garden of a Thousand Faces. I think that's really important to me, and I value your trust and your time. You listening, watching. I really value your time, so I don't want to tell you that I'm going to be on live and then not be for some reason. So I'm going to be really strict with myself to make sure that I'm present and that I take care of myself off camera regularly so that we can keep on doing our really cool work together and building our community. Because I remember like last year we had a lot of people on live every day, literally every day, or every night, I should say. It'd be like 3 a.m. and we'd all be just on here hamming it up, having a good old time. I really miss that environment, and I really miss the people and the connection that we were building. And I feel like I've let people down by not being present. And I think it's a truth that I need to share with you because it's our work and our project and our community and our connection that is at risk when I don't show up, and when you don't show up. Those both things are true. And so I'm making a really strong effort now to prioritize the time that we spend together. So the writing grants is one way to make sure that we have our bases covered, our bills paid, and then we'll be able to have more time to connect. And hopefully everything just falls into place I see it in my mind and I feel it in my soul that this is good work to be focused on, and that the more focused that we become, oh, I'm going to use a little fluorescent pink, it gets dampered down really quickly by the white. The issue with the fluorescent colors is that they are not light fast. They suck. They suck in the light, like sunlight. They just start fading. So you have to put a really nice coat of UVL varnish on there, which is really freaking expensive. You want to read it? Okay. Can you send me a Snapchat with your, because I don't want you to like publicly release it on here. Can you send me a Snapchat message with your email address and I can send you uh the Google Drive Google Doc that I put it in? I like being really transparent with people regarding this project, regarding most things, but especially with this project. So all of your input is so loved and so welcome. And we will be applying for more grants and things like that. So if you think maybe we should change wording, or you like it, or I forgot something, like let me know. And if you just like it how it is, let me know. I'm with it. And that goes for anyone. Like I don't make enemies. I make connections, you know? So if you ever wanted to read what a grant looks like a good solid project description is, ask me and I'll give you some access to it so you can read more about it. And if you're someone who's writing their own, you know, project proposals, grants, things like that, I'm happy to help and be a resource. I think we need to go in, kind of put some of those little highlights in. And I'll come back in with a little bit of white to do that, but it's gonna be so multi-dimensional. Oh, Kale, you're playing our video. How, does it look okay on the screen? I'm sharing it right now with you as well. Excellent. And in the future, I'll have little like cute things that go up here, you know, or more cameras so you can see other viewpoints. And that'll come as we get more funding. There's also a way that like you could fund it. So if you're like, oh, I have an extra $5 that I could share with Gigi in the Garden of a Thousand Faces, there's a link tree listed on my page, and there is a way to donate money for the Garden of a Thousand Faces. You don't have to do that. I don't want anyone to feel obligated. It's not a requirement to participate in the project in any way, or I like really don't want people to feel pressured. But if you ever are like, hey, I really want to support this project, and you know, instead of buying a coffee today, I will donate $5. Some people have donated as little as $1 at a time. One person donated like 50 cents one time, and I was grateful, you know. Um, a lot of that goes into taxes because I don't have a fiscal receiver, a nonprofit that receives the funds for the project, which is a thing we're learning. But that may change very soon. Just depends on who's interested in working with me. And once some of that is a little bit more clear to me, you know, I'll feel more confident in being able to just sit down and paint each day instead of feeling like I have to hustle to make it all happen, which just a different kind of hustle, I guess. So last year we did vending, right? And through the vending process, made a bit of money, and a lot of that went towards the next vending event. Some of that money went towards getting more supplies, canvases, a tent, things like that. But now we're ready and we can go to more things. I've had people, other artists, reach out to me and ask to be a part of their events, which is really cool. I'm honored. And I even was named in Art Dose magazine as one of 60 artists of 2024 to follow. The top 60 to follow on social media, I think is what it was about. And I was also named by the Wisconsin Arts Board as one of 50 artists of 50 years to celebrate their 50th anniversary. So there's an article online about me and the project The Garden of a Thousand Faces and other things that I'm working on, which was really exciting, quite an honor. So we just keep on growing, and I see the more that I, believe in myself, and the more that I push myself, the more that other people also see that and want to be a part of it. So good things are happening. And I really appreciate your presence and your voice and your willingness to be vulnerable with me. Like, not everybody shares what projects they're working on or what their newest sweater purchase. I love it. And so when you do stuff like that, you really become a part of my life. And that's the part of the project, the Garden of a Thousand Faces. Like, that is the part of the project that matters the most. The relationships that we're building. The paintings could all burn, you know what I mean? Like, the paintings could all be damaged in a fire or a flood, and it would still be worth every single thing that we did and put into it, because we have that relationship, and would not have been able to like meet each other and have each other's voices and stories in our minds. So just remember that too. Okay, these hearts, do you see how they're like fading into the background? They're too close in value, but when we put we're gonna put in some of that shadow that we have back there. And I think you see our paint. Acrylic paint dries so fast. I've been using the oils and they take like at least 24 hours before they're cured. And that's because oil paint oxidizes rather than drying. It's a chemical reaction. It's really cool. And the other thing is like oil, as it dries, releases heat. So you have to be careful with it. How long will you be on tonight? Good question. Just until we're done with the painting. And we're getting closer and closer. Probably another like 45 minutes. If we were to time it. And if I were to just shut up, I'd probably paint faster. I don't know. Sometimes I'm even slower if I'm quiet because I start thinking. And when I start thinking, I stop painting. I don't know if anyone can relate to that. You started staying up late. What time do you stay up until now? I've been going to bed at like random times, but my mom and I will watch. We like to bond, and we've had some like tough times lately. I'd say like very emotional times. The person who strangled me is they just had like a court hearing, what would you call it, a sentencing yesterday, not for me but for another act of violence that they caused. So we've been dealing with kind of like the fallout from that, like the emotional toll of harm. And so we've been hanging out a lot, but I'm trying not to think about it and trying to like release myself of all of that shit, that emotion, the pain and the disappointment. So I've been like distracting myself with other things, like TV shows. And I believe he's going to prison for a while now because he violated his terms of probation by causing harm to someone else. And I have issues with that as well. Prisons are not places for people to go and come out and be healthy and productive. So I worry, just worry. But it's not for me to worry about anymore. And I just have to remember that. Yes, healthy distractions. Like this painting. And having a lot of. We're gonna cook. I'm gonna do some cooking. One of my artist friends just had a baby with his wife, and really excited to be able to offer help to somebody else. Like helping other people kind of like takes you out of your own pain and stuff and makes you feel really positive and like powerful in a way. Not like powerful, like I'm taking over the world, but feeling needed and wanted is something that you can't manufacture. So, it's good. I reached out to them. I think before they had the baby, I reached out and was like, hey, if you want, I can cook for you. And he was just like, like a type of person who doesn't want to accept help from people because they feel like they don't need to be burdened or people don't need to be burdened by their existence. But then I reached out and he was like, oh my gosh, I actually think that would be great because I don't ever get to actually connect with my wife anymore because I am coming home from work and then I have to take care of the house and do all this other stuff. So I was like, heck yeah, let's do it. So we're gonna do some cooking. That's gonna be great. I'm not the best cook, okay? I'm not. It's okay though. I have friends who have taught me things. Shout out to Jamae. She's the goat at cooking. She came to my house and cooked, and like it taught me a lot just watching and being in her presence. So cool. Part of why I'm bad at cooking, and maybe this is relatable for other people, is that I'll forget that I'm cooking while I'm cooking, and my ADHD will just be like, let's do other things. So I end up burning things a lot. But that's cool. Or like I'll last minute catch stuff just before it was about to be completely destroyed. It's kind of disappointing. I'm adding a little purple as a shadow. It's just like a darker value to go and complement these little sprinkles so they're not so flat. And then I'm going to kind of create some shapes as well for white sprinkles because right now I didn't paint them on, but when I do they're gonna like disappear just like how these white hearts disappeared. I think when people have babies it should be a normal thing, like a normal reaction of people to be like, hey, how can I help? Can I do your laundry? Can I bring you stuff? Same thing when people experience other issues, not issues, but like other big life events, illness, moving, stuff like that. So I'm just gonna step up and do the thing, and hopefully, other people will feel inspired to also do the thing of being a really good friend to people, even if you don't know them very well. Sometimes acts of service can bring you really close to people. Aw, yeah, see? So now then, pay it forward, and whenever something happens in someone else's life, you know how to help them. You'll be, and you don't have to like go out of your way too much. Just make a little extra food out of what the things you are already gonna make. Now, this couple, they are vegetarian, so we're gonna make extra of something. We're gonna make soup and make just like an extra big batch of it and then deliver them some. The nice thing about soups is you can freeze them. So if you have a lot of people giving you food at one time, no big deal. We got it. Freezer, we can put it in and we can pull it out whenever we're ready to actually dig in. I might bring them like fresh rolls too, something like that. We have a new oven. You were here for it. I had that big oven fiasco of 24 where we had no stove and no oven, no safe stove and no safe oven to use. Well, also no appliance, but it's all fixed now. Everything's golden, doing the thing. Yes, listening here. I'm trying more to be cognizant of like asking people if they want me to just listen or if they want me to contribute like my perspectives. Because I know some people, they get excited and they want to share what they're working on and they're not ready to receive feedback on it. Life situations, other stuff, whatever. I'm a work in progress. But a good rule, don't ever try to tell me a secret. I don't want to know it. I don't want to be involved in your secrets at all, ever. Not even a little bit. And that might mean that I feel like I'm outside of certain things with my friends, but like that's fine. I don't need to be in it. I got my own stuff to handle. I think secrets are very toxic. And if you're holding a bunch of stuff just for yourself, it's like, let that go. Deal with it or move on or whatever, but let it go. And not to me. I'm going in and cleaning up some of that here because it's just a little too see-through. You can see that colored pencil we put down. Ooh, a surprise. A surprise that you're like in on, maybe. I used to be really good at holding secrets and like not sharing anything because I would just forget everything that the person told me. um, but especially since I stopped consuming cannabis, I don't forget as much stuff. Oh, it's great. I love it here. I really like having a strong working memory, I feel like my working memory is coming back to life. That's what I should say. It's not strong, it's just stronger. I got to a point in life where I just like couldn't recall things. I would walk into another room, and I know it's like a natural thing where like you forget something, but I would forget where I put things. I would forget what I was even working on. I would not have dreams. I did not feel rested. I felt like it was just too much. And that, my friends, is when I decided I didn't need it. But I don't judge people who medicate in different ways. It's not up to me. And even if it was, I still wouldn't judge. So we need to have, do you see how like here it's very flat looking? We need to have a tertiary line like right there on the left of the very navy color that's dark and shadowy for the cookies frosting. And I think it should be kind of like a purpley color. Oh my gosh, you see this paint is gross. Let's see. I have a scraper. We're gonna scrape it and put it into our pile. Yeah, we need like another camera so you can see the paint pile growing. It's so gross. Okay, cool. Cool. We did it. You gained weight? Why do you think that is? Did you start stress eating instead of smoking? I used to, like in college, in middle school, I think starting in middle school through college, I was an extreme stress eater. Like if I was stressed out about finals, midterms, life, I would go to the kitchen. I would find something, anything, whatever I could eat, and I would just sit down and eat it. And I know that about myself, so I avoid it, you know, as much as possible. There's nothing wrong with eating. There's nothing wrong with feeling good about the things you eat. It's just I know that I can get extreme with it, and I gained 70 pounds, 70 pounds in the first year of college. Um, that's a lot, you know? It wasn't good. Oh, you stopped having the urge to eat? Like normally? That's a thing. Oh, you're making some unhealthy choices. That makes sense then. But now you're able to reflect, right? And not hold that negative, any like negative feelings about it, I hope. And I think the most important thing really isn't about your weight, isn't about the number on the scale, but rather, do you feel at home in the body that you have currently? Because, you know, it's all about whether or not you're comfortable and whether or not your body also will last as long in life as you want it to, as like you want to be here for. I have my best friend contacted me and let me know that she's she was told by her doctor like she needs to lose 30 pounds in the next couple of months basically because she's not in a good health state. So, I have a lot of thoughts about this. I've thought deeply about it and read about it and stuff, but like cardiac events and stuff, they're real. So it can be like a harsh thing to face at some point about how your body is and what your choices are. And some of it's genetic, you know, some of it's a learned behavior or a reaction to stress or environmental factors. But if you're comfortable and you're happy in your body and you're satisfied with the way that it's serving you, then that's the most important thing. I think I kind of had a similar reaction to you, Kale, where like I only wanted to eat, like I only felt physically hungry when I smoked, and when I stopped, I experienced that like that effect where all of a sudden I felt like I was over consuming for a period of time and had to find like that what we're really talking about is homeostasis, right? Finding center and feeling good in that center, like normals. So I have a feeling that what you're talking about is pretty common for people who transition from smoking to not, or the opposite, you know, like any big changes. I really like this painting, it's cute. One thing we need to do is go back in and add some of these lines with our white paint. And I say that also not to dismiss or make your experience smaller, but to give you like peace, of mind that it's not just you. It's a communal and systematic thing, and that your experience is very valid. Ooh, how did you fix your vaping fixation? That's a real thing too. Like thumb sucking as a young person as a way to self-soothe, and then having to stop is a big deal. I don't like how that line came out. Hold on. We'll just pull this up just a little bit. And I think the reason I don't like it is because this circle there, I think that needs to just come down a bit. I wasn't a big thumb sucker ever, but when I was little, was a bottle feeder. Like, I loved the bottle, and it was so hard to not use a baby bottle anymore when I was real little, And my foster mom, I think, noticed it as well, but I need it, and I was in foster care. Like, I had a lot of trauma in my early years, so I don't know if that impacted my teeth at all, but it's a consideration in life. Let's pull this just a bit. And then this side needs to come and be opened up. That looks so much better. The circle was lopsided, and that was, I think, throwing it. And let's come in here. Just a little bit. Ooh, let's go in and put that highlight in. And come out here. There is such a difference between acrylic and oil paint. Like, I couldn't put my finger on the painting, mid painting with oils. It would just all come off on my finger. It's not circular. I need to, let's turn this. We need to just pull that out just a bit. There we go. Beautiful. I think that's better. I think that's better. Look at that. I love it. It's looking good. We're not done with it, but at least we had quite a bit more detail than when we started, right? I think this part right here needs to come down just a bit. Turn it this way, and we'll do that same kind of sweepy motion in order to make a more perfect circle. This looks so good. Okay. I'm just gonna post a little picture. We're not done, but at least it's getting somewhere now. Alrighty, let's do it. Okay. Sweet, made a little post. Everyone knows we're committed. We're doing cool stuff. We're getting it done. Okay. Whew. What I would like to see yet is like that line is just random. Want to build more of this like sweeping motion throughout the painting so that it comes alive in that sense. We need to go in darker in some areas, like add a little. I don't even think we really utilize the alizarin crimson to its full advantage. Like that would be really good for that shadowy color for the red. So just the tiniest bit. Let's get into it. Oops, excuse me. Okay. There. See it better. I'm gonna just dip my paintbrush into our alizarin crimson and wet it a little. I really like about acrylic paint is that you can just use a little bit of water. Apparently water degrades the paint, but I haven't had problems with it. They do have mediums that you can add in, like a fluid medium, that a matte medium, that's one, that you can put into it, and it keeps, let me see if I have some right now. It keeps the like shape and the integrity of the paint. I have a little slow dry medium. I had a matte medium somewhere, but slow dry medium works really well. So here's that. You can just use this instead of water to make your paint, your acrylic paint, just last a little longer. And then you avoid having to have such like thick application. Right now I'm just going in with a bit of alizarin crimson and some of that slow dry medium. It does impact how long it takes to dry, as it implies in its name, or says in its name. But it's not like days. It's not like with oil paint or something. I love these thin brushes. This little teeny tiny liner brush. This is a 6-inch canvas, so it's a lot of detail. Hi Ivy, welcome back. Doing a little Valentine's cookie painting from Batch Bakehouse. I went and I installed a bunch of new pieces in their display case. A lot of people in Madison have been enjoying my artwork, so I think they're gonna get a lot more people who go shopping at Batch Bakehouse for their goodies. I just applied for a grant yesterday, so that's cool. We'll listen and hear what we find out in the next couple weeks, and I'll let you know if we get it. If you're interested in reading the project description for the Garden of a Thousand Faces, which is what I submitted, let me know. I let a bunch of people have access to it so that they could just kind of like see both my vision for the project, but also what grants require and how I wrote it. I think I wrote it okay, but I also don't believe in my writing because I feel like I can be better. So if you like reading, it's not long. It's under 500 words, which is like one sheet of paper typed, double spaced, or like spaced in half. Nothing too intense. Oops. Let's fix that. The fun part will be being able to eat the cookies. I have had so much self-restraint in not eating all these freaking cookies, and they're so good. It's been a challenge, you know? A worthwhile challenge at that. I feel like we need to have just a little bit more cookie definition underneath here. And then down here, I feel like it's giving cookie now and not just a random heart on a circle. Painting makes me hungry. Definitely need to eat something soon. Maybe I'm in like a spaghetti mood. I feel like the sprinkles look a little too far apart. Don't you think? Like we need to add some more of them little sprinkled friends in. Here's the cookie. You see it. They're so close together. The sprinkles are like touching. What I didn't do yet is add white sprinkles because they're gonna get lost in all that. So then we need to think about how do I define the sprinkles with a shadow rather than just plopping them in. But I'll put the sprinkle up. I'm gonna do some of these white sprinkles just with the thick paint, and that might help us to kind of imagine where we need a shadow to go. And I don't know if you can see right now. Maybe you can. Maybe we need to zoom in. But as we add it, do you see that there's like a shadow from the light? Because this acrylic paint is really thick. It's a nice heavy body. This is the Liquitex heavy body titanium white. So I'm going to come in everywhere where I see a shadow on that sprinkle with, I think we'll use sort of like, excuse me, it's this like purple blue that we have kind of over here for our shadow. And we could even have a couple more pink sprinkles in there. And I have a little bit of red. We can put a couple extra red ones. Our photo is just a reference. It doesn't have to be exact, right? It's just like the idea, the gist, the inspiration, the muse. I do really like how it is so far, though. The cookie that we see in front of us has a lot of pink. Maybe it needs a couple little pink dots too, as well. And now let's hit it with some of our shadow color, which is a bit of our blue mixed with some white and a little bit of our red. Love it. We need a bit of highlight. I put just a little bit of white on here. And I'm gonna come in. We're gonna come in Just a little teeny dab of a white highlight in a few places. Dipping back in, we're gonna go and give some of these little sprinkles, just a bit of something. Oops. It's perfect. It's so cute. I'm gonna come in with our bigger brush again. And we'll just go straight in with some red. But also do the entire edge red as well, so it's more cohesive. And we worked really hard to give this like a clean edge, so let's keep it clean. You like it? Yay! I'm pretty pleased with it. I'm cleaning up the edges right now. The way, because I don't frame these. You can frame them. Um, but that's just extra expense that I don't need to have. So for the display at Batch Bakehouse, I have all of them up and not all of the edges are painted. I actually don't like painted edges. I think it's a waste of time because the painting's on the front, not on the side. But for this display case, it just kind of makes sense to paint the sides of him. Because people can kind of see them around the edges of the piece. So there we go. And then I need more red. We'll get some more red out really quick. We're using Naphtha Crimson. My friend used my paint today to work plein air just because it was easier. And I don't have crimson, or sorry, I don't have cadmium red, which is one of her like go-to colors. Mostly because I try to stay away from cadmiums if I can. When and if I can. So she tried Naphtha red, which is the red that you see here. She said she really enjoyed the kinds of purples she was able to pull out of it. I don't personally know a big difference between the two because I don't use it, but I'm kind of curious now. I use Naphtha red because it is pretty close to cadmium. And cadmium red is pretty close to like a true red. There aren't any paints that would be considered like a true yellow, true blue, or a true red where it's not swaying one side or to the other side of the color wheel. You either have like kind of a cool red with a little bit of a blue tint, or you have a kind of a warmer red that is more towards the orange spectrum. But cadmiums are pretty close to true. We still have to paint the bottom, but I think I can let the rest dry before I come back in with the brush for the bottom piece. All right, what we need to do is work on bringing a little bit more depth to the plate around it, and this part might need to go just a little bit darker. It's very pastel. That was kind of fun. I like it. I enjoy how it looks. I'm not mad at it, you know? I have to sign it. Oh, we forgot to paint the bottom side. Everything else is red. Let's paint that. Give it give it some goodness. This is Naphtha Crimson, and I don't have another tube of this. This is it. But what I can do is cut off the top of it and open it up, and we can use it that way if I can't get any out, but I think I could get just a bit more out. And if not, then I will cut it. Oh yeah, look at that. Squeezed it out. Okay. It's not much, but we don't need too much. We don't need too much here. And I'm gonna put, even though it takes a little bit longer to dry, I just want it to last a bit. So I put some slow dry medium here on the palette to mix in. And I'm still gonna come back in and give it a better shadow. I have another canvas. We could do another painting. Okay. Perfect. So we have a little Be Mine painting. Taking this off of here so we can let it sit and dry fully. So it's not a perfect application, I wouldn't say. I might, yeah, I think I'll let that dry fully and then I'll apply another layer of that dark, or the red, the crimson, to the bottom, or to the sides, I should say. I do want to go in real quick and add that, just a little bit of depth behind the plate. I like that this white plate is represented in mint, that like yellowy blue. Yellowy blue. I think it turned out pretty good. I'm gonna grab a snack real quick and then we'll finish with those little shadow details. tonight. Can we get some more broccoli salad tomorrow? What one? Can we get more broccoli salad tomorrow? And spend some time together? You should get a recipe if you can find one. Look it up. Okay, I'm ready to finish it. It's just a few more brush strokes, really. I'm just eating a little chicken salad. Delicious. It's so cute. Okay. I feel like we have to open this up. Let me see if I can get just a little bit of the red out. Because that's what we'll paint. A little like red and blue mixed together, which makes a nice purpley violet color. Oh, just the littlest bit. Which is perfect. We don't want much. I get it. Okay. So, it's a little too thick on this side. We really want it to like taper just a bit so that it looks more dimensional. Okay, We've been painting for 2.5 hours, which feels good. I'm just like shoveling food into my mouth.
How do you get a smooth?
All right, we've done it. I want to say that we've done it at least. I hope it looks like a cookie. Oh, there's like one line here. Hold up. There is an edge. And every time I look at it, I'm sure I'm going to see something else. And I'm like, ooh, we should do that. Ooh, we should do that. There is an edge right here that needs more definition. And to do that, we'll just mix some of that purple with that color of the frosting. The same kind of color that we used for the plate. And then I'm just going to pull that same color right up to this edge. And I put a bit more blue. It's like a more purpley color to go in this edge. Oh, I forgot I have the power to do that. Okay. And then I used to be really scared to paint with any like gray kind of colors because I wanted everything to be so vibrant, but realizing in reality that the grays just make the other colors pop, you know, and make your piece more believable. So that's okay. It's okay. We're just going in with a little bit of a yellow glow. Kind of a yellow green glow, but it's in the shadow, so it's gonna pick up a bit. And then we're going to, oops, I'm losing it. Remix a little bit of this here. And make sure there's just a bit of like a highlight. Pop into our white just a bit. And go in with the white almost purely, you know, and put this design from the plate on there. That's the lighting. And we're gonna pick up more of that titanium white and come in on this edge right here. You know, I'm thinking that it might be nice to come in with a bit. Let's use a thicker, more substantial brush. And right now we're just like getting rid of some of that white. It doesn't need to be there. It's kind of annoying how bright white it is. So I'm putting some of our very pale mint kind of color in there. And then letting that reflective bit above it, where the light would hit, define up that edge. I think that looks so much better. Before it was like it was just a little too exposed, the canvas, and it was uncomfortable. Good. Found a little bit of something to do. I bet if I sat here all night doing this until the morning, we could perfect it, you know, whatever that means. But we won't do that. One, because I would really feel guilty about doing it on this and not focusing on painting people for the garden. Time is valuable, right? Rest is valuable. Feeling rested in the time that you're using is valuable. And, well, that was number one. And number two, we don't have to. Simple, right? Very simple. We just, it's not a requirement. This whole painting wasn't a requirement, but I wanted to do it because it is Valentine's Day coming up, and a lot of people want to give gifts to people that they love, and demonstrating this like ability to create the gift instead of just buying it. Or you can buy this painting, but I don't push that. That just naturally happens. People decide they like something and then they purchase it. Um, but this piece is going to go up into the bakery, and Batch Bakery here, they're the people who baked the cookies that we are painting. So shout out to Batch Bakehouse for allowing me to paint and show my artwork in their facility. It's very kind of them. Oh shoot, that was way dark. Much darker than I expected. That's nice. What do we think? The paint is drying really, really fast. I like it. I like it a lot. Alright, we just have to clean up and that's it. I also have to sign the painting. I'll sign it with this teeny tiny brush and just like over here basically. So then this piece signs like that. I don't know if I should like make it more visible, but I kind of like that it's just barely there, you know? It says green. That's for my signature, it just says green. So now that's signed. I might go in, let's just go in with a teeny tiny bit You had me as a teacher. Well, I hope you're doing really good in life. And remember always that you're capable of growth. Everyone around you is always growing. To be very kind to yourself and to others in that understanding that nobody's perfect and that we're all here on the planet for the first time doing the thing. Hopefully, doing a good job at it. What that means, who knows? Alright, I decided I'll just like go in with a little bit more definition for the signature so it's noticeable but not overwhelming, right? Green. Did you graduate yet? Are you done with the school system here? Thank you for stopping by and saying such kind things. And submit your face to the Garden of 1,000 Faces if you want. If you're under 18, have that conversation with someone who guards your heart, you know, but boom. There's a link in the bio to submit your photo. How cute is that? So this will go up in Batch Bakehouse. So if you ever want to see the artwork in person and not wait for a show, then go look at it. I have a bunch of pastries up, a bunch of paintings, and we can finally do the thing. Yep. Their sugar cookies are divine. So good. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me and painting. We finished it. We did it. I feel good. It's been a while since I really finished a painting. We'll be back on live again, doing more paintings, working on the Garden of 1,000 Faces. I'm gonna have to find some friends to help me eat all of these cookies. There's so many of them. And that's not all, folks. Look at, there's more. Cookies everywhere. I don't even like cookies typically. I like Batch's cookies though, but I'm not gonna eat them all by myself. So, remember to treat yourself nice and give yourself a cookie. You've done so well in life. This goes to all of you. And I hope you get some good rest tonight and you feel confident and energized to do the things you must do. All right, y'all. Thanks for hanging out with me. See you next time.